When families are broken, our church and our society are also broken. The Bible says, "For lack of guidance, a nation falls, but victory is won through many advisors." Welcome to the Family Matters of the New Jersey Conference.
Hello, family. I am Pastor Jean-Michel Etienne, the Assistant Director of Family Ministry in the New Jersey Conference. Today, I am very delighted to present to you the fourth episode of Family Matters. It is a quarterly family program sponsored by the New Jersey Conference. And I am very pleased to have today again in the studio with me Pastor Peggy Philosan. And we're going to talk about an important topic today. We're going to talk about communication. Pastor Peggy, it is a pleasure
as always,
to have you again in studio, in the studio.
Same here, same here. It's been a pleasure to come back.
Yes, and you are welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
So my friends, today we're going to talk about communication. And once again, I welcome you to Family Matters, a quarterly family program with the New Jersey Conference. You know, Pastor Peggy, communication is very important. And it is fundamental, the same way like a garden or a flower needs water and sunshine in order to grow and to bloom. So it is the same way any type of relationship needs good communication in order for the relationship to be healthy and to be effective.
I love the analogy you use with the plants and how you got flowers in the garden and how you have to take time to grow. Because what people don't realize is communication is a skill.
Yes.
It is a skill, to learn skill. Not everyone has it naturally, but just as you have to take, a gardener has to take their time to learn about the plants and learn about the soil and cultivate it and take time to water it daily and put effort into it. Communication requires effort. It requires time and to get better at it. So you have to be intentional. It's an actual word, it's intentional, so that you can learn how to better communicate and articulate your emotions with one another.
Yes. Have you ever seen that sometimes some couples, they're having some dialogues and trying to resolve a conflict, a problem, trying to discuss about something, and then they spend the whole day or the whole time talking, and they don't accomplish anything.
And nor do they get to the root cause of the problem.
Yes, or they have more problems than what they had before.
Yes.
You know, that's why it is important. And we're going to give to our audience some causes of communication breakdown. Because if a couple or a parent and children, friends, if they have hard time to communicate, so there are some causes.
Yes.
So they have to know. Can you tell the audience a few causes?
I would like to definitely explain that. But before we even get to that, we have to even explain what communication is.
Yes,
Let's define
I
it.
agree.
It's definitely transferring information to produce greater understanding. So it is a transfer of information with one another. And what causes the communications breakout is the information that's being transferred and how it's being transferred. You have stubbornness, but I like to say, even mention emotions. Emotions, how we express ourselves with the tone and the fact that we're just expressing it based on how we feel at that moment.
Yes.
That gets transferred to the other person with some anger, frustration, the way they receive that information. Our emotions can be a problem that cause a communication breakdown. Stubbornness can cause a communication breakdown. Other ones that we have is when they don't, when they compare.
So just before you go to the next one, because you mentioned stubbornness.
Yes.
Stubbornness is that when someone is is trying to see only him or herself. He doesn't want to listen to the other person, or he wants to do only what he has in mind.
It's stubbornness is what they want to do, what's on their mind. But not all stubbornness is bad, okay? Because I'm very stubborn. I'm stubborn when it's time to get work done. I want to get this done. I have a drive to get certain things done. And so I will try to see if somebody says you can't get it done, I'm trying to find every other way possible to get it done. But when it comes to communication, the stubbornness is a problem because you do not want to hear
That's
the other
right.
person problem. You don't want to hear what they're trying to say to you, or you don't want to hear their suggestions, or you don't want their assistance or help. You are just fixated on how you want to resolve the problem, and you're
Yes.
fixated on what you want to explain or articulate to the other person. And so that's when the stubbornness becomes a problem in the communications, because you don't leave any room in your
For
mind
the other
to
person to express.
exactly.
So in another word, stubbornness is like a wall.
Yes.
You build
Yes.
a wall
Yep.
between you
Yes.
and the other person.
And that's no way to communicate, because communicate is transferring information. So if you don't want to hear the other person, or you built this wall so much so that whatever they say, you don't really hear
Yes,
it because
yes.
you're too busy with what you have in your mind. And so information just goes in one ear and out the other because you refuse to accept it in.
I wonder why we have a lot of dysfunctional couples or families because of stubbornness.
It is a huge thing because we all want to be set in our ways, or we have this entitlement. We feel as if that we're right, and we want to argue the fact that we are right, and we want that person to accept that we are right, and they
Yes.
also acknowledge that they've hurt us, or that we are trying to say that you were wrong. And so that wall is a huge problem in a relationship.
Yes. Yes, so we spent some time on the first one,
Yep. Yes.
stubbornness, because really that's really real.
It is.
It's really
It
real.
is. It is.
So what second sign again?
I
you
like the
give?
second one that
second
they
cause?
give is not accepting when it's your fault.
Oh, that's a
Yes.
big one.
That's a huge one, because that means we have to be vulnerable. That means that our pride is now broken because we don't want to share the information with them. We want to be right. We want to make sure that they know that they've hurt us, and that whatever they say in response, that they are wrong, because we don't want to accept that it's our fault
Yes.
at all, because we want that whole thing that say that I was right. And that's a huge problem. It is a huge problem when we don't accept that we are wrong, because we cannot move forward if we don't realize that we're wrong. We're not always right.
Yes.
We have to accept that we're not going to always be right. But a lot of people believe that they're always right and that you're always wrong. So
Yes.
when you do not accept that you are wrong, or apologize for when you've hurt that person, even if you didn't do anything wrong, but the way they received it hurt
Yes,
them,
yes.
you got to apologize. So we have to be willing to admit when we are wrong and we are at fault. And again, even if it's 1% at fault, acknowledge it. Just acknowledge that you've done something wrong. And in order to acknowledge that you have done something wrong, you literally have to take the time to step back and assess your
To
action.
assess yourself.
Yes, exactly. And then when you do that, you're going to see the scenario differently, because you've now calmed down a little to now breathe and say, well, what went wrong? And then you'll realize, oh, I must have said something wrong, or they
Yes.
received it wrong. So let me go. You know,
I mean,
this
this is if you have a good conscience.
if you have a good conscience. But what I like about this, I know we're talking about family and spouses and partners and relationships and all, but if we would just do this in church,
Yes,
we
big
would be
difference. That
so
would make
united.
a big difference.
So united if we would just accept when we hurt others, or how they perceived how they were hurt. But instead, we always say we didn't do anything wrong. And so it's the same thing. The same way we deal with relationship and communication in our home is the same way we're supposed to deal it in our jobs, our work, our school, and church.
And Pastor Peggy, in counseling, I told people, it doesn't matter if you have 99% right. If you are 99% right and the other one is 1% wrong, it doesn't matter. You got to take your responsibility. Your 1% wrong you have, you got to recognize it, admit it.
And that's a huge thing. That's a huge thing to admit when you're wrong. Another one that I like here is comparison. A comparison. For those who did not, who's probably haven't seen yet, but for the video that we've done on domestic abuse, comparison was something we spoke about. Well, that same type of comparing, that you're not as good as your father or
Yes.
mother, or you're just as bad as your so-and-so, or you're not good as so-and-so. Even with our children, look at so-and-so had a 4.0. You're not as good as this 4.0. You're not supposed to be better. Or that comparison breaks a person down. It is a huge barrier in communication, because now you have put a wall up. That the fact that you compare that person has put a wall up, and then in the communication, and so that affects the communication through comparison.
So I think when you compare someone with another one, you put the person down.
Yes. Yes.
You
yes,
put the person
yes,
down.
yes.
In another word, you tell the person the other one is better than you.
Yes.
Or is superior than you.
Yes.
So
Yep.
this is a killer.
Yep, yep. And I love that there's a text for that too. It says on 2 Corinthians 10, verse 12, "For we dare not compare ourselves with those who commend themselves, but they, measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves, are not wise." And so even ourselves, we're not supposed to compare ourselves between ourselves, because we start challenging, and it instill that seed of wanting
Yes.
to start comparing,
Yes.
because now we're like, I got to do better. I didn't do good enough. We start comparing, and it hurts ourselves as well.
Yes,
We
yes.
think that we're trying to improve ourselves, but it does worse. And so then we start comparing with others, and it starts growing from there.
There is another cause of communication breakdown when people keep bringing the past.
Yes.
So what can you say more on that?
sad. We hear-
How it is bad.
We hear our females do that a lot. The spouses, the wives do that a lot. They bring back the past when they're dealing with their husbands. Oh, you did not vacuum the floor. You did not do this. You did not do that. You didn't wash the dishes. And so by bringing the past, you're saying that they were never good enough. They've
Yes.
never done anything great. And that one time the spouse is like, I know I did something. And when they mention, oh no, remember I did vacuum the floor. I did vacuum the bedroom last month or so, or 2 months ago or so. And then they'll respond back, well, see, look when you did it. So it's never enough. They're always bringing up the past. They can't let go of the past, or they can't let go of the hurt. That one argument that has lasted that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they've never let it go. So every time there is a new situation, a new argument that comes in, they bring in that
The past is coming.
and it comes right back again, and they add to it. And so that means they're never good enough, and they never let it go so that their relationship can grow.
So in another word, not bringing the past. There is something important that should take place.
Yes.
We
Yes.
should be willing to forgive.
Forgive.
To
yes.
forgive, because when you forgive someone, there is no way
Yes.
you are going to bring the past, or you're going to bring what the
Exactly.
person did to you.
Exactly.
So that's very important, and to forgive the person and to seek reconciliation.
Yes.
So that means there is an absence. The reconciliation is absent if the person keep bringing the past.
And that forgiveness is, again, an action word. It's not always easy to forget something that hurt you so deeply. But in order for you to heal, you have to forgive.
Yes.
And every time you feel as if that seed is coming back, you have to remind them, I've forgiven this person. I've forgiven that person. And you have to forgive yourself as well.
Yes.
So it is intentional effort to forgive and let go. You may never forget, but when those memories come back, remember that you have forgiven that person, and you have reconciled with that person, and so you have to rebuke that thought so that you can move on with that relationship.
That's correct. There is something. Sometimes I tell people in counseling, the past, when you drive a car, you don't put your face, or you don't look all the time in the mirror. If you do that, you're going to crash.
Yes,
But
you're right.
time to time, you can look behind. You can to see where you're going, what obstacle you have. So that mean what I mean by that. So you can when you forgive the person, but you can that can come to your memory, okay? That can come to your memory, so you won't repeat the same mistake.
Yep.
Okay, that's
Yep.
another way
Yep.
I used to illustrate it for people.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing
You know, there is another big one. When the spouse is attacking the other. So when there is when they're attacking each other, there is no way they can communicate well.
Yeah.
There is no way they can have effective
all.
communication.
They're too busy attacking the person. What they're supposed to do is attack the problem.
They forgot
not
the problem.
person.
They
Exactly.
forgot the problem,
Yep.
and they keep attacking
Yep.
each other,
Yep.
calling people's names.
Yep.
Okay.
And I feel as if they're attacking the person because whatever happened in the past, they have not let it go.
That's
so
right.
they're always reminded about that person as compared to that problem that day should be resolved, but they keep on bringing the past and they attack that person. It becomes a natural thing out of them. And you can tell the frustration, the anger they have about that person because it comes out naturally. The first thing is to attack the person, call them names, disrespect them, devalue them, as compared to dealing with the problem that exists of that root cause for that particular moment.
Yeah, so an advice we can give to our audience. So next time you have a discussion, you have a communication, you're discussing something with your spouse or with your partner, so stop attacking each other and recognize your fault, recognize that you have a percentage of wrong in the situation, and then the communication will be restored.
Exactly. I agree, Pastor Chen.
You know, we can give them more sign.
Yes.
Exaggeration. Some people, they like to exaggerate.
Yes.
They always want to put pepper.
Yes.
They put seasoning. They put clove in the situation, so they don't tell you the thing exactly how it's happened.
Yeah,
They always exaggerate.
We will
always
call them
put
dramatic.
more. And you know why? You know why? Because in counseling, when the couple or the people, when the two people come in counseling, they're trying to present himself or herself as the
victim.
one who is right.
As the victim, yeah.
Okay? As the victim. And for that, the person is trying to add something to the situation, add something to what the person has done or has said. Okay? So exaggeration is very, very dangerous in communication.
We do that a lot when we are going through something in a relationship and we call our friends. And we know that for us women, we can call our girlfriends and they'll take our side, they'll defend us. And once we tell them the story, it gets so hyped up to a big thing that next thing you know, they're suggesting that we get rid of the person.
Yes.
When that was probably not the solution to it. But
of course,
we
yes.
present the story in such a way because we're so hurt. We want people to side with us
That
and support
we
us.
Are right.
That
yes.
we are right. We are right. And they have not heard the whole story. So that happens a lot of the exaggeration because, as you said earlier, we want to present ourselves as the victim, that we want justification, we want vindication, we want revenge of what just happened to us because it hurt us.
Yeah, there is another cause of communication breakdown: lying.
Yes.
When people are lying to one another, there is no way you can have an effective communication because nothing you said to your spouse is true. So if there is no truthfulness, if there is lying in the conversation, in the dialogue, there is no way they can communicate effectively.
By you mentioning the lying, it reminds me of something, and it reminds me of someone. Let me put it that way. It reminds me of Lucifer.
Yes.
A great liar. But even the steps that we've mentioned before that, attacking God to show the other angels that God is not great, that he doesn't keep at his word. And then he exaggerated the story in heaven so to get people on his side so that he could fight. And then he lied about it. And so the sad thing about it, as we list these things, they have these characteristics of Lucifer, of Satan, which is what we don't want to have. We want the fruit of the Spirit in our relationship in our families, and our loved ones, and that's with the character of Christ. But these behaviors is what hurts a communication.
Yes.
That's what breaks a family home. That's what breaks social communities, communities and churches, and they are examples of what Satan did.
Yes. Two more signs. Quick.
Yes.
Harsh words.
Ooh, harsh
You know,
words.
when the couples or people in communication, they're exchanging,
Yeah.
they are exchanging words
Yeah.
and bad words
Yeah.
just to put the other one down.
Yes.
Because the person want to get you
Yes.
upset, to make
Exactly.
you upset
Exactly.
and use a bad word.
We
This is-
want to instigate the situation.
Yes. And the last one, it is explosive anger. You know, explosive anger.
Yep.
When you are so upset, so angry, and I tell people in counseling, when your spouse is really angry, so you got to take a break.
Take a break.
So give a break, get your space,
Yep.
and after that you can come back and try to finish the
Yep.
conversation or achieve something.
Because when we're angry, our mind is in a whole different place that we
Yes.
don't even have room to receive
No.
anything or hear anything. We don't want to. We are just so caught up in our anger, which is an emotion that we have, but we cannot excuse it by saying, "Well, Jesus was angry." No, it's not the same. You can be angry but not sin. And many times when we're angry, we're ready to attack a
Yes,
person.
to attack the person.
Because
yes.
we want to make sure they understand that they hurt us. And so I agree, Pastor Ted, that we need to take a step back and then calm down, release his emotions so that Holy Spirit can come and speak to
Yes,
us and give us
yes.
clarity to communicate with one another.
Yes, indeed. So, my friends, communication is the key to your marriage relationship or parental relationship. You know, don't miss the great blessing God has in store for you and your spouse. You know, as you enjoy sweet communication with each other, deal with those issues which can destroy your oneness and take every opportunity to draw near to one another. So, my friend, communication is very, very important. And I am very glad, Pastor Peggy and we are very glad to bring to present to you today the causes of communication breakdown.
Yes.
So, you were watching Family Matters, a quarterly family program sponsored by the New Jersey Conference. We thank you for watching this program, and we hope that this program will benefit you and your friends. So if you are very interested or you are happy with this program, if you want to know more about the family ministry in the New Jersey Conference, you can always stop by at the office, and you can visit our website, ngcsda.org, or you can stop by anytime and we can have a little talk. So I hope that this program will please you and this program will benefit you. Once again, we thank you for watching Family Matters. Pastor Peggy,
It was
I
a
think
pleasure.
we give our people a lot of information today.
Yes, we have. Thank
So
you.
I see you soon. Au revoir. Goodbye.